very loud. Hey guys, loud guys. Today we are going to react to the most terrifying sounds of World War II. So World War II, as we know, is one of the most tragic events because of this, last century. Even World War I was a very tragic event because how many people lost their lives, and this is something that everybody fears, that we don't want another World War.
Also, I think sounds, that means that gun sounds or sort
Yes,
of.
might
But they
be.
have recorded those sounds. Oh God. For
Like-
us.
Like it could be any sound, no? The gun sounds or the sound of people falling.
Oh please, I don't want to hear that cries and all.
It might be because that was that sound, and like how people used to live there. There were many movies related to war which are very hard to watch. So let's watch this video.
Hello and welcome to another video with your host Agent Smith Voice Productions. Today's topic, I'm taking a look at some of the most frightening sounds in World War II. Quite possibly one of the most iconic noises of the Second World War, this list begins with the distinctive sputtering sound of the infamous V1 rocket.
Imagine this rocket above you.
Known also as the flying bomb,
Flying
the
bomb.
buzz bomb, the doodle bug, and the cherry stone. The V1 was developed for mass-scale terror bombing against London. This weapon was a pilotless monoplane and the only production aircraft to be powered by a pulse jet motor. It featured a 1-ton warhead that was launched off a special ramp, and it had a cruising speed of 650 kilometers per hour at a range of over 250 kilometers. What made this weapon so frightening was not only the droning noise, but when the V1 reached its target, the engine would cut out due to fuel starvation. What followed was a horrifying moment of silence before the gliding warhead slammed into the ground and detonated.
It is very scary.
Oh my God.
The silence and
Another
that.
infamous sound that makes it to this list is the Soviet Kusa rocket launcher.
I can't even imagine the plight of people living there.
Making its combat debut in 1941, the first self-propelled artillery produced by the Soviet Union, also known as the German Killer, or more commonly as Stalin's organ, due to the unique howling noise emitted by
Stalin's
the
organ.
engines. These rockets featured a 5-kilogram explosive warhead and had a range of up to 8.5 kilometers. The Soviets used the M13 rocket that was an improved decorative of the aircraft-launched RS-132 rocket and were mounted via a special launch rail that could accommodate
so
up to
frightening to
16
watch this.
rockets per truck. Although cheap to produce and able to deliver explosions to a target area more quickly, the Kusa rockets were more fragile than artillery and required a longer time to reload. Perhaps the most celebrated machine gun of all time,
Machine
the
gun.
MG42 was a light portable Mauser general-purpose machine gun developed in 1942 by Germany. Used extensively by the Wehrmacht and
Developed in
Waffen SS in
1942
World
only,
War II,
wow.
the MG42 developed a ferocious reputation. Belt-fed, this weapon had no one-shot capability, fired a 7.92mm round, overheated and gorged on ammunition at a staggering 1,500 rounds per minute.
1,500
This machine
rounds per
gun
minute.
had various names. The Americans referred to it as Hitler's buzzsaw because of the way it viciously cut down troops, and the Russians called it the Linoleum Ripper due to the unique shredding sound it made when it fired. In World War II, British
would be
or
just
American soldiers
death
with
by
a
sound.
magazine-fed machine gun, when faced against this German weapon, would be absolutely terrified by the mere sound of an
Yeah, that's what I
MG-42.
was saying.
Eventually, the situation became so severe that the US had to produce a special training film so that troops would become accustomed to the noise due to the machine gun's psychological impact.
Wow.
Up next is another iconic noise that left a long-lasting impression on World War II. It is none other than the potent symbol of the Blitzkrieg, and of course I'm referring to the Jericho Trumpet or the Stuka siren.
It's like a very dangerous
First
siren.
used in the Spanish
how
Civil
did they
War in
drive it?
1936, the Junkers Ju-87 or Stuka was a two-man dive bomber and
lads
ground
kind of
attack
drive, no?
aircraft that saw widespread success during the Blitzkrieg campaigns of 1939 to 1942 in World War II. Designed specifically to instill fear, the Jericho Trumpet was a mechanical propeller-driven siren that was bolted onto the fixed undercarriage of the Ju-87. When the aircraft initiated its attack dive, the air flowing through the siren would produce the famous shrieking wail that had a devastating impact on the morale
So whenever
of
it
troops
moved,
and
this sound,
civilians
it made
alike.
this sound.
Over time, however, the impact it had lessened as enemies were alerted by it, and pilots flying the Ju-87 hated the sound as early versions of the siren couldn't be turned off, and thus many Stuka units removed them as they were driven mad by the continuous howling noise. Now, you can imagine that if you heard this screaming sound during World War II, it would have been absolutely terrifying, and it would often be
Scared.
accompanied by a deafening blast.
I would know. Yes, there is going to be an attack on me. 100%. Oh.
It was, to be honest.
Another scary sound is the Panza Vera, also known as the Moaning Mini by the Allies, was a
Moaning Mini.
self-propelled artillery rocket launcher used by Germany in World War II. First introduced in April 1943, it was designed for larger-scale rocket barrages against Allied positions, where a large bombardment of a big area will be more effective than more accurate artillery fire. The rocket barrages covered much larger areas and added more psychological elements to the fight, especially the infamous sound of the rocket engines.
Whoa. Everything was very loud.
The Panzer Vera weighed up to 7.1 tons, was 6 meters long, and capable of reaching speeds of up to 40 kilometers per hour. Although this vehicle was intended to provide fire support, some Panzer Veras were also fitted with a machine gun mounted above the cab for protection against attacking infantry. If you heard the sound of clanking tracks along with a growling engine, it was a telltale sign that a heavy armored vehicle was around.
A tank. But the sound of destruction, no?
I'm going to refer to a couple of iconic tanks of World War II that developed fearsome reputation in all proportion to their numbers. The German Panzerkampfwagen 5 and 6, also known as the Panther and Tiger tank. These vehicles were heavily armored and had extremely powerful anti-tank guns that could easily decimate any of the tanks that the Allies fielded onto the battlefield. Although they were reliable, Germany didn't have vast amounts of resources to produce these vehicles in large numbers. Such was the legendary status of these tanks. The mere sight and sound of one would sure enough strike fear into the hearts of Allied tank crew and infantrymen. Finally, I finish off this list with a sound in World War II that will be blood-curdling, and that is air raids, also known as strategic bombing. These were common throughout the Second World War, and it was widely believed by many military strategists that major victories could be won by attacking industrial and political infrastructure. This often involved bombing areas inhabited by civilians, and some campaigns were deliberately designed to target civilian populations in order to terrorize and crush morale. One of the most infamous strategic bombing attacks in World War II was the London Blitz in 1940 to 1941, and not only would one hear the shrieking sound of a Carter air raid siren, but also the ominous droning noise of hundreds of Luftwaffe aircraft, followed by the deafening explosions of bombs and the cries of the wounded.
Oh, this is the bomb alarm.
Oh, this is the alarm like they are,
For
wearing them.
yes, there's going to be an air attack,
Oh my god.
and then that.
Happening outside our room.
These sounds are actually very terrifying.
Very, very terrifying. Like you cannot imagine, like the positions and situations of people, how they have survived in this chaotic environment.
To live in a house and just hear the sound of a tank going by, or that whoo of the plane.
That means that there's always a fear that we can die anytime.
Yes, and you never know, one bomb lands on you and you're gone. Your life is not in your hands anymore. That is such a very hard thing to live by. You just go out in the market to buy something, then a bomb comes by. Not enough time to do anything.
What do you think about World War III?
I don't want it to happen, and I think it should
Nobody
never
wants,
happen.
but
Yes.
do you think, are you expecting it to,
No,
it
I
could
don't
happen
think so.
or what?
I think so. We have some good buffers in place, like UN and everything, that can stop it, and they should stop it. Otherwise, it is terrifying.
I was hearing on the news channel when Ukraine and Russia had the fight. I thought it's going to happen because countries be like, I want to go this side, and some countries be like, I want to go this side, and that could happen maybe.
But thank God it is not happening at this moment. So what are your opinions about it? Do let us know in the comment section below. So do like, share, and
Subscribe.
bye.